I say holy, holy, I say it thrice. I pay my dues, yeah, I pay my tithes. There's nothing to, yeah, he already paid the price. He paid the price. Yeah, he paid the price. Yeah, he paid the price.
What's up, guys? Back with another video. In this video, we're going to go over the top 3 most common pains that new gym goers experience. And this may not even be for the gym goer. This might just be somebody in day-to-day life. The top 3 pains of the human body, if you want to call it that. It's pretty similar across the board because as a whole, just humans, 9-to-5 workday, we do a lot of us do the same thing every single day. And those injuries or those pains that we feel, I don't want to call them injuries, but those pains that we feel are pretty similar across the board.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the 3 that we're going to talk about today, I hear from my mother, I hear from my friends, and just a lot of people that I've met in the gym. And Andrew asked me to join today because I've also struggled with some of these and having problems of not wanting to do the corrective exercises because I personally feel that it's kind of a boring and overlooked topic, and you don't want to have to go in the gym and do your boring corrective exercises, but I'm included in that. I struggled with it for a while. I was an athlete in the past, so I kind of overlooked it, didn't think I needed to do it, and it really caused a lot of overdevelopment in my anterior chain, so that being in my biceps and in my quads. And then I had a significant underdevelopment because of that in my posterior chain, so in my back, in my glutes, and in my hamstrings. And it really started leading into quite a bit of pain. I was getting some pinching here in my shoulder, which was due to my biceps. And then I was also having pain in my hips. That was due to my quads. And when I finally turned gears and started focusing on corrective exercises, my pain started going away. I almost have no pain in those areas now. And it had really been causing delays in my progress that I hadn't really noticed. And I think we're finally starting to move in the right direction. So I really wanted to give this information to you guys. So if you're encountering this in everyday life or it is holding you up in the gym, you can maybe throw in these corrective exercises in your workouts and start moving in the right direction.
So our top 3 most common pains that the general public experiences when going to the gym. Number 1, and it's by far the most common one, is low back pain. My low back hurts when I bend over to tie my shoes. My low back hurts when I sneeze. My low back hurts when I walk the dog. It hurts when I sleep. I wouldn't be making YouTube videos if I had $1 for every time I heard it. So, number 2, moving on from low back pain to
the scapula or your shoulder blade. So this is something that I had problems with. You've had problems with too in the past, right? Mm-hmm. And I've also had quite a few friends complain of it as well. So it's kind of in your lower area of your scapula. We also often call it arrow back. It's just a term that I think your mom came up with. Yeah. It kind of feels like you got an arrow stuck in your back and it hurts really bad. It's like there's something underneath your shoulder blade. It can be aggravating. We found that mine is probably from my posture. Mm-hmm. I sit at a desk all day long. I work with a mouse, so my arm's always forward, walking the dogs, just often doing things in everyday life. But with the corrective exercises that we'll go over, I almost never have that pain anymore. I really never complain of it.
And it really only took probably 2 or 3 solid weeks of you making sure you did them every day or every other day. And within 3 weeks, it was, if it wasn't better, it was 90%.
Definitely.
So these are things that if you understand what's going on and how to correct it, it's things you can do even at home. If you're not somebody who has any interest in going to the gym, these things are things you can do at home to alleviate some of that pain that you have in your day-to-day life. So that being said, our last one, our number 3 for our top 3 is going to be that knee pain that everybody experiences when they do any sort of squatting.
Or even
up and down steps. Yeah. And This knee pain is usually due to what's called patella tendonitis. It is this part right in front of your knee, right at the bottom of the kneecap. I will show you guys, I'll put something up on the screen somewhere to show you guys exactly where that is, as well as the arrow back that we like to call. But patella tendonitis is simply put is an overuse of the patella tendon, and typically that is caused by an overworked quadricep, specifically the VMO down here, this teardrop muscle down here at the bottom of the knee. Excessive loading of that particular muscle will cause that patella tendon to get inflamed, and it'll cause, it can be pretty excruciating at times. So it's not like I'm sitting here calling you guys out like to suck it up, because I have experienced patella tendonitis. It's not the funnest thing in the world. However, again, it's one of those things that with a couple weeks of corrective exercises, it can practically vanish. And your quality of life will go through the roof. So again, don't have to be a gym goer to benefit from this. We're going to show you the exercises that you guys can do at home to alleviate that knee pain. All right, guys, we're in the gym. We're going to go over our corrective exercises for our top 3 irritants, and we are going to start with the one that Shamron had to spend the most time with, which is the scapula retraction, or basically,
back,
yeah, that arrow back. So real quick, we will show you exactly where we are speaking of. Okay, so this can be in a couple of areas along the shoulder blade, but typically it would start right here at the top of Shamron's shirt here, right where her strap goes over her shoulder. So from this point, it can be anywhere from there to up to just under the trap. If you're getting into the trap, it's a little bit different. The trap is the muscle that sits on top of the shoulders and connects up into our neck. So if it's up here in the trap, it could be something a little different. We're focusing on this line along the shoulder blade. And typically what it'll feel like, it's not so much pain, but more like a deep sore or pressure underneath that shoulder blade, and it's kind of constant. And the only way to really alleviate it is to strengthen the post-delt rhomboids, the stuff back here that actually pulls those shoulder blades back. Go ahead and pull the shoulder blades back, exaggerate it. It pulls those shoulder blades back, and it causes for an active upper back. You turn around to the side real quick for me. Typically what causes this is a rounding of the shoulder forward in everyday life stuff, like if you're a truck driver, having your arm out in front of you driving can cause this. If you're sitting at a desk and typing all day, this can also cause this. And the really annoying thing is, if you don't know how to correct it, it's one of those things that will never get any better. It'll just kind of constantly be there. So 2 exercises that we used to fix this for Shamron. Go ahead and grab a red band for me. Is a supinated or underhand grip banded pull apart. She'll demonstrate that now. Again, all you're doing, that underhand supinated position, pulling apart and trying to push your chest forward as you squeeze those shoulder blades together in the back of the body. It's very important that you try to keep your elbows in while you do this and not flare out like a delt fly like that, correct? If that is the case, you are missing what we're wanting to strengthen there.
Now, what can somebody do if they don't have one of these resistance bands?
You actually don't need any weight at all, or any resistance at all. You could sit at your desk and just do this right here.
Palms up?
Yes, ma'am. You might you might get some looks from people around you, but
and then just squeezing.
As long as you're focused on keeping those elbows tucked in as close as possible and pinching those shoulder blades together in the back, then you're on the right track. If you wanted to add a little bit of resistance, just grab yourself, if you're at home, just grab yourself 2 like Campbell's soup cans or something with a little bit of weight to it. This is something that does not need a ton of weight. Obviously you can do it without weight, But if you did want to, soup cans would be great, probably your best bet. They're anywhere from 1 to 2 pounds probably, so it's a great way to get that extra resistance if you don't have a resistance band. Okay, so our second exercise for that scapular retraction is going to be a even simpler one that anybody can do as long as you have a wall. It's the only piece of equipment you need for this movement. So what I'm going to ask Shamron to do is I'm going to ask her to put her heels against the wall, her butt against the wall, her upper back against the wall, and then I want her to make a scarecrow or a field goal just like that. And when we're in this position, you still want to keep your shoulders, glutes, and heels against the wall, but you also want to keep your elbow, forearm, and wrist against the wall as well. If any part of your arm is coming off the wall, you are not doing this movement correctly. Everything needs to be right up against the wall. So
I found that you kind of want to do them slow to keep that elbow on the wall at first.
yeah,
it's kind of weird.
You should always do these slow. There's really no reason for you to do these fast because we want to feel everything flex in the different positions. So go ahead and take your arms up for me. We're going to take our hands all the way up overhead. I just want to get a quick look at her here. Okay, so she's evening up. This is something that Shamron has to do even still to this day because of that overdevelopment in the anterior chain or in the shoulder.
Look like more like that.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better. And then as she comes down, come down, you want to squeeze and get these elbows as close to the rib cage as possible. Again, with keeping your hands, forearms, and humerus against the wall as she does these. And just to hit, you're good, you can relax. Just to hit on our sets and reps for these, both are going to be the same. So typically I would recommend doing 3 sets of 30 of each. 3 sets in the morning, 3 sets in the evening, equaling a total of 6 sets done throughout the day of each movement, the pull aparts and these wall slides. Now, I understand that could be a little much for some people. That is just a recommendation, 6 sets of 30 throughout the day. If you need to start a little lower, that is perfectly fine. Just saying for the fastest recovery, you're gonna wanna get the most blood flow to those areas. So the more sets, more reps you do, the quicker it can alleviate itself. Alrighty guys, so the next exercise we're gonna go over is for that low back pain. So everybody should be paying attention right here. So the first one is going to be what we call a elevated glute bridge, or excuse me, a suspended glute bridge. And if you don't have a bench at home, hopefully you have a couch or something like that. Again, that's all you really need for this movement. So Shamron's going to demonstrate this really quick. Okay, so what we are looking for here, as you can tell, Shamron has her shoulders and head on the bench while coming down her body. Her feet are underneath her glutes. Her feet are underneath her glutes. Her knees are going out, and she is driving her hips to the ceiling as high as she can, squeezing her butt in the process. And what this is going to cause, it's going to cause our hamstrings and glutes to become active. It is going to decompress the spine because the hamstrings and glutes are driving your hips to the ceiling. And it actually also helps open up the hips. So you could feel a stretch in these hip flexors right through here. That is perfectly normal as well. So for our sets and reps on the suspended glute bridge, on this one, it is going to vary person to person. So a good recommendation for this, again, that's 6 sets a day still, but each set needs to be max effort as long as you can hold it. Typically, if you're able to hold this longer than 2 minutes, your low back is probably fine. And your glutes and hamstrings are working just fine. And if that is the case, tune into one of our next videos because we are going to actually focus on strengthening the lower back. So if you're able to do this for more than 2 minutes, it may not be a glute or hamstring issue. It could just be poor circulation to the low back, which again we will address in a future video. If this is done correctly, the hips should always be in an extended position. They should never start to sag. This is going to be on you guys to pay attention to this. If your hips start to drop or lose that parallel with the shoulders, you're done. That set's done. Go ahead and call it. You're no longer using the glutes and hamstrings to extend the hip, and that set needs to be done. Don't try to sit there and fight it with a saggy hip. Okay, moving on to our last problem area, which is going to be that the knees or that patella tendon, which is usually the case. Again, it's not a rule, but typically that is the norm, is that patella tendon. So what we are going to do for this, we're going to show you guys 2 exercises. The first is going to be a box step down. You can use a box, obviously, if you have access. If you do not have access to a box, you can do these on your steps. If you have steps in your house, or a porch that has steps on the outside of your house. If you don't have that, you can use any sort of elevated area and it'll work just fine. Okay, so Shamer's going to demonstrate our box step downs. You're going to start at the top of the box. I'm going to move to the side here, and whatever knee is bothering you is going to be right on the edge of the box, and the off leg is going to be hanging off the box. Once you've established that position, you are very slowly and controlled going to start to lower yourself down. There will be a point where you may lose control. That is the end of the rep. Go ahead and step down and start your next rep. So Sharon did a good first rep. Again, nice and slow, controlling everything down, getting to the floor and popping up. Good job, babe. Okay guys, so for this one, I'm gonna ask Sharon to get in a split squat position. Whatever knee is bothering you, that is going to be the knee that goes to the box or elevated position. And we're gonna put our toes on the box, point our heel to the ceiling. So take your heel up to the ceiling, and that is going to be our starting position. Once in this starting position, we are gonna do a hamstring curl. We're gonna bring our heel up to our butt, squeeze nice and hard, and then nice and slow come down back to the box. And again, big squeeze in that hamstring back down to the box. And that is how we are going to get our hamstrings firing, specifically the knee flexors, and alleviate some of the tension on that patella tendon.
And can they hold on to something?
Yes, you, anytime we're working in a single leg capacity, holding on to something is going to be recommended if you're not able to keep that balance. Alrighty guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, hit us up in the comments. Please like and subscribe. We love giving you guys this information, and thank you guys again for watching.
I know they notice and I know they see the gift. Ain't no floaters here, boy, sink or swim.